Welcome back to The Truth of Money, where we follow the money to find the truth the mainstream media won't tell you. In 1453, a city fell, but it wasn't just walls that crumbled. The heart of the world economy stopped and restarted in different hands. History books tell you about cannons, sieges, and Mehmed's genius, but nobody tells you the real story. This wasn't a conquest, it was the greatest economic takeover in history, and the same war is still being fought today. Only the battlefields have changed. Before 1453, look at the world like a map. Spices from the Silk Road, precious stones from India, silk from China, gold from Africa, all had to pass through one point, Istanbul. This city wasn't a fortress, it was a valve, and whoever controlled that valve controlled world trade. Byzantium had weakened, yes. Its walls had cracked, yes. Its population had dropped to 50,000, yes. But there was a reason it was still the world's richest city. In finance, geography is destiny itself. Istanbul was the only passage connecting the Black Sea to the Mediterranean, the only bridge linking Europe to Asia, and most importantly, the only route for money to flow from east to west. May 29th, 1453. The walls fell, the city was taken. But do you know what Mehmed the Conqueror's first order was? He stopped the pillaging after 3 days because he understood what other conquerors didn't. A broken city gives you nothing, but a functioning system makes you rich forever. The real revolutionary decisions that history rarely tells. First, preserve all commercial infrastructure. Repair the ports, fix the warehouses, rebuild the customs houses. Second, bring back the merchants. Promise the Genoese, guarantee the Venetians. Give autonomy to Jewish bankers. Offer security to Armenian tradesmen, because they weren't just traders, they were the system itself. Third, control the strait. Impose transit taxes, but make them unavoidable yet affordable so everyone pays and everyone can pay. In the first decade after the conquest, Istanbul underwent the fastest reconstruction in world history. Population increased fivefold, ports expanded, new districts were built. But the real growth was invisible. Straight taxes became steady income flowing every day regardless of war or peace. Customs revenues became the empire's backbone, taking a cut from spices, silk, wheat, slaves. Everything. Port dominance brought logistical power, deciding which ship goes where and who trades with whom. And most chillingly, money exchange systems, credit networks, promissory notes, guaranteed trade agreements. Istanbul became the Wall Street of the 15th century, where a Venetian merchant's note issued in Istanbul was valid in Bursa, Aleppo, even Tabriz because it had Ottoman power behind it. This wasn't just trade, this was monetary hegemony. And here begins history's greatest irony. By controlling Istanbul, the Ottomans increased Europe's costs. Spice prices rose, silk became expensive. Trade with the East was only possible with Ottoman permission and taxes. So Europe sought solutions outside the system. 1492, Columbus crossed the Atlantic to reach America. 1498, Vasco da Gama rounded the Cape of Good Hope to reach India. Why? Because using the Ottoman-controlled passage was too expensive. The conquest of Istanbul ironically globalized the world. The Ottomans controlled one passage, so Europe had to explore all the oceans, but this wasn't a defeat for the Ottomans. On the contrary, that system worked for 300 years because even when new routes opened, the old route never closed. Short term? No. The first 10 to 15 years after conquest were heavy investment. Repair walls, build palaces, construct mosques, establish inns, bathhouses, bazaars, incentivize merchants, offer tax breaks. Mehmed invested billions in today's dollars into Istanbul, but medium to long term? Istanbul became the economic backbone financing the empire's war machine. Suleiman's Hungarian campaigns, Persian wars, Mediterranean dominance were all made possible by Istanbul's cash flow. Because now the Ottomans had system income, not dependent on taxes, harvests, or war spoils. A daily, uninterrupted revenue stream. In modern economic terms, the Ottomans built a passive income model 500 years ago. And now we arrive at the real point. Today, nobody conquers cities, but has the war ended? No, only the battlefields have changed. Today, power isn't in land, it's in the chokepoints where money passes. The SWIFT system handles 90% of international bank transfers, controlled by the US and Europe. They cut Russia off and its economy collapsed. The petrodollar system means oil is only bought and sold in dollars because the US made a deal with Saudi Arabia in the 1970s. This is the modern version of the Istanbul Strait. The Visa MasterCard network processes most of the world's electronic payments. Cut a company off and it's erased from global commerce. The App Store and Google Play are the choke points of the digital economy, taking 30% commission with no alternative. conquest of Istanbul isn't over. It's just gone digital, and today empires are built by controlling the roads money must travel through. Istanbul's conquest teaches us power isn't in ownership but in passage. Wealth isn't in production but in control points. Dominance isn't in territory but in systems. Mehmed the Conqueror didn't just take a fortress, he seized a system that fed him, his children, his grandchildren for 300 years, and today the same logic applies. Amazon isn't the biggest store, it's the biggest marketplace where money passes. Google isn't the best information, it's the biggest information gateway where attention passes. Apple isn't the best phone, it's the biggest ecosystem where value passes. All the same strategy. Control the choke point, control the system, control the future. In 1453, the Ottomans didn't conquer a city. They seized control of the world economy, and in 2025, the same war continues with algorithms instead of cannons, servers instead of walls, networks instead of armies. But the rules are the same. Whoever controls the passage controls the future. Now look around you. Your money passes through systems. Your credit card, your bank, your investments, your purchases, all choke points. And someone, somewhere, is taking a cut just like the Ottomans took from the Istanbul Strait. So the question is, are you inside the system or are you the system itself? Because history taught us, winners are never those who work the hardest. Winners are those who control the road through which others' work passes. The conquest of Istanbul wasn't a military victory. It was a system takeover. And today, the same takeover is happening in different forms. So open your eyes, see the choke points, understand the system, because empires are still built the same way. Not with swords, but by seizing the passages. And one more thing. Mehmed was 21 years old when he took Istanbul. What is a 21-year-old doing today? Perhaps preparing to build the next Istanbul, a digital choke point, because history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. But wait, there's one more question. The Ottomans took Istanbul and controlled world trade, yes. But in the same period, Europe was crossing oceans and discovering America. So why didn't the Ottomans explore? They had the most powerful navy. They had the richest treasury. They had the world's best cartographers like Piri Reis. They even drew maps of the American continent, but they never went. Why? The answer will shock you. Because they didn't need to. The Ottomans already controlled the road where money passed. Why take the risk? This decision made the empire rich for 300 years, but eventually destroyed it. In the next video, I'll tell you the shocking economic logic behind the Ottoman decision not to discover America and how it led to the empire's downfall. Don't miss it, because this story also explains why companies fail today